Please understand what is the research proposal. Okay. As we are aware that for conducting the research, we need what? We need the time, we need the human resource, and we need the infrastructure. Okay. Sometimes the infrastructure may not be available completely for raising that infrastructure, or for other activities we need the money. So money is a very important thing for conducting the research. Okay. So who can provide the money for conducting the research is the question. Okay. So we'll also see what are the funding agencies for providing the research funding for the research. Okay. What are the funding agencies for research project? Okay. Okay. So as I mentioned, we know the important characteristic of research is that it should be empirical. It should not be imaginary. So if it is imaginary, we can do ourselves on computer. Okay. Don't need money. But when it comes empirical, means realistic. So we need to conduct the experiment. For conducting the experiment, we need to first build the experimental setup. Okay. For building the experimental setup itself will take material, fabrication cost, traveling cost to bring the material. Then comes instruments for the measurement. Okay. We need the instrument, various instruments. Maybe if it is a heat transfer, then it is a temperature sensor, maybe voltage current meter, ammeter, voltmeter. It is related to something. Then we may need the chemicals. We need to travel to purchase or conduct the study. We need to hire the assistant. Sometimes one person may not be enough. We may need the assistant for conducting the research. So for this, we need the money. So when I want to do good quality research, money is always needed. Okay. Please understand, our institute may not be in position, or institute may not be in a position to support us. Okay. Because the requirement may be huge, or even sometimes small institute may not always fund you the research. Okay. In such case, we need to search for the funding agency. Funding agencies can be government organization, or it can be any private organization. Like when we are doing one research, UG research, we are needing some money for purchasing the instrument. So we requested some businessman, and he readily agreed to pay some amount. Okay. Readily agreed to pay some amount. So please understand, it is not always a government agency, but it can be even a private agency if they are interested. So instead of seeking the whole fund from a single person, we can take part support from various businessmen. Then it is becoming easy. Okay. Now, what happens when we want to apply for research funding? What we have to do is we have to prepare the proposal. We have to prepare the proposal in the format given by the organization. Okay. And it is time consuming. Sometimes we may say it is boring, but it is required to get the money. We need to complete the formalities. We need to prepare the proposal. If it's shortlisted, then we need to go to present the proposal, give the presentation for proposal. So it is a proposal for conducting the research, and we seek the assistant, monetary assistance for the research. Okay. So as I mentioned, research, when we apply for research grant or research support, it is a time consuming process. Okay. We have to apply, then there will be deadline. After deadline, there will be shortlisting. After shortlisting, there will be some presentation. After presentation, they may take the time for declaring the result. Okay. So it is time consuming. But yes, with this monetary help, we can conduct the good quality research. Okay. So it provides opportunity. When we apply for funding, we prepare the proposal, and when we prepare the proposal, it's a ready-made thing, we can say. Once it is done, we can easily execute that and complete our research. Okay. So by doing this, we also understand what are the various administrative aspects for getting the fund, how to purchase the equipments with the framework, how to make the entries, various entries in the organization, how to prepare the budget, how to submit the expenditure. All this administrative aspect we also learn because of funded project. Okay. When we self-fund, we no need to keep the record of bills and all that. Okay. But when it is funded project, we need to keep the record and we understand the administrative procedures. Now, I will show you a few funding agencies. Of course, government agencies that can fund your research. Please understand, when we go for asking funding for the research, there is a competition. It is not like that you submit the proposal, research proposal, and you will get the funding. Okay. So there is a competition. Please understand. Okay. So we'll see the funding agencies in the India, few government agencies like Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council, BIRAC, then DRDO, Defense Research and Development Organization, DRDO, then CSIR, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, Department of Ayurveda, Yoga, Naturopathy, Unani, Siddha, Homeopathy, Ayush department now. Okay, it is the Ayush department. Department of Biotechnology, DST, Department of Science and Technology. Then Technology Information Forecasting and Assessment Council, TIFAC, UGC. These are the few agencies that I have listed. But beside these agencies, there are many agencies. The PDF I will send you to your WhatsApp group, so that you can also search related to your specialization. Now, question comes, if some agency is providing funding. It is for what? Does this provide remuneration to researcher? Or it is not providing remuneration to the researcher? Or it is only providing the expenses? Now, I have taken from some government agency, R&D funding normally covers following cost. Then it covers the cost for researcher, technician, other supporting personnel involved during the course of project. Okay, so as per my knowledge, if you are principal investigator of project, you don't get money as a remuneration, but you can get the salary for the staff which is working in the funded project. That is a junior research fellowship or senior research fellowship. Then through this funding, you can purchase the equipment which are not available and needed for the research. We can purchase instruments, equipments. We can also hire some research and technical knowledge. For that, we can sign the contract with some company. Then cost for contract research. Then it gives the cost, operating cost. What operating cost we need? We need the maybe chemicals, raw materials. Okay. So cost of that raw material and supplies is covered. If you need any technical consulting, that is also covered in the R&D funding. And any overhead which is directly comes to this expense. Okay. So funding agency generally covers all this, but I think it is not giving the remuneration to the principal investigator. But what I have seen in the, I have worked in the Saudi Arabia, they also give the remuneration to the principal investigators. Okay. So I think that is not covered in India. So research proposal. So what is, we write the research proposal, our purpose is to get the funding, to get the money from funding agency to either purchase, hire the people, purchase the chemicals, purchase the instruments, to erect the experimental setup, to conduct the surveys, to travel. Okay. So we prepare research proposal to get funding for our project. Okay. As I mentioned, that every person applying the proposal will not get the fund because there is a limitation of fund. There are more proposals. There are more proposals and the less amount is available for funding. So there is always competition. So what we expect from the good proposal, that it should quickly answer the following questions. What question your proposal must answer? What do you want to do? It should be very clear from your proposal that what you want to do, what will be your budget, how much it will cost, what will be duration of your project. So these things should be clear because funding agencies, they should clearly know what you are doing, how much it will cost, and how many years it will take. Then it should answer how does proposed project relate to the sponsor's interest. Like I have given the names of various organizations. Like suppose you are applying to the Defense Research DRDO, then your project should be related to the DRDO. Okay, if it is not of interest to the DRDO, then it is likely that it will get rejected. Okay, so you have to also relate to the sponsor's interest. Somehow we have to relate. Okay, if we, even it is not directly, but somehow we have to relate how it can be helped to the defense. Okay. Next, it also describe how the project will make to you, how your project will make the difference to you, your university, your students, your branch, your state, how it will make a difference to your nation, means how it is important for your nation, state, world. Okay. Then what is already done in your project. So please understand, literature survey is a very important aspect for the proposal. So we have to mention clearly what is done in your project, what is done, what are the previous methods, what are the mistakes made by previous researcher. Okay. So everything you need to project. Then comes how will you plan it? So you have to clearly mention the plan. Please understand. You have to clearly mention the plan. You have to clearly mention the plan. So how will you execute the project? You have to mention the clearly. Okay. Plan you have to clearly describe. So how will you conduct the experiment? How will you do the analysis? What is your expected results? All the things you have to be very clear in the proposal. Then how will the results will be evaluated? What the equations will be used? What methodology will be used? That you have to clearly mention. We have to clearly mention how will calculate the results. I will do the analysis and how will interpret the result. And we would also describe one thing, that why you are a most suited person for this. Why you are conducting? If others will conduct, what will be the difference? If you conduct this research, what will be the difference? That uniqueness, your uniqueness you should mention. Your uniqueness you should mention. Okay. So, as I mentioned, we have to answer these important questions to make your proposal most appealing, okay, to the reviewing body funding bodies. Okay. So as I mentioned, most agencies generally provide the format. So I will discuss you one format generally which is given by our Pune University. So agencies provide detailed instruction guidelines for preparing proposals. Okay, format they will give, and we have to complete the proposal. Now we will see the types of proposals. So first type is solicited proposals. So we submit in response to specific solicitations issued by the sponsor. So such solicitation they call a request for proposal or request for quotation. They are very specific in their requirement regarding format and technical content, and may stipulate certain award terms and condition. So they request for a particular area they want to do the research, and they invite the application for the research. That is called as solicited proposals. Next is unsolicited proposals submitted. This is submitted to the sponsor that has not issued any specific solicitation, but believed to be investigators to have interest in the subject. Okay. So they don't call specifically the research proposal in particular area, but they consider like DRDO. When the proposal is submitted, it is expected that you will submit related to the defense in the interest of defense. Then comes pre-proposals. In the pre-proposal, it is not a proposal, but it is short, we can say, to minimize the applicant's effort for preparing the full proposal. Pre-proposals are usually in the form of the letter of intent or a brief abstract. So what is here, because we have already seen the fund is limited and we have more applicants. So to shortlist, to enable to shortlist, we call the pre-proposals. And once shortlisted, they can prepare for the full proposal. So it saves the times of the applicant and also makes the process little faster. Continuation or non-competing proposals.
Excuse me, sir. Can I intervene for a minute?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. This pre-proposal, you mentioned it in the form of a letter. So once this letter is exchanged between the student and the university guide, the acceptance of that particular pre-proposal then gets converted into actual proposal for the desired project or thesis. Is it right?
No. Pre-proposal is a research proposal. Please understand here, proposal is for funding.
Funding. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
we are all this thing for the funding. It is not for approval.
Okay, I understand.
It is not for approval. Okay, so the pre-proposals are generally short. It is not in very detail. Okay.
Yeah, abstract.
It may containing maybe abstract or maybe 1 page or 2 page. The purpose here is to save the time for reviewer as well as the person who is applying. Okay. Only for shortlisted, they will call for full proposal. Okay. Then comes continuation or non-competing proposal. Here, confirm the original proposal and funding requirement for multi-year projects for which sponsor has already provided funding for an initial period. Okay. So continuation means what happens? Suppose the project is for 3 years. For every year, we have to create the proposal. Okay. For continuation of the project. That is called as continuation proposals. So continued support is really contingent on satisfactory work progress and availability of funds. So continuation proposal is required for whether the previous work was satisfactory, and new proposal for next year can be provided. Okay. Or whether the fund is available for next year or not depends on that also. Because what happens, funding agency also have their limitations. Suppose they have shortage of fund, then may not be they will continue all the projects. Renewal or competing proposals are request. Renewal proposals are request for continued support for an existing project. Okay, that is about to terminate. Okay, so it is a renewal, we can say. The project is about to terminate and we want to renew that. Okay, maybe further work is needed. For that we do this renewal proposal. Okay, now we'll see the parts of research proposal. So there can be different formats for different proposals, but we'll see here some sample, and I will show you one research proposal from the SPPU. What are the content of that? So first we have to give the title page. Okay, so it should be title. Most sponsor agencies specify the format for title page. Some provide a specific form for summarize the basic administrative fiscal data for the project. Title should be comprehensive enough to indicate the nature of proposed work and but also be brief. Okay, so your title should not be too long and it should not be too short. Okay, but it should give appropriate meaning of your research project in the title. Then you should give the abstract of your project. So the person which is going through your proposal will read this abstract, okay, and can make the preliminary decisions about the proposal. Please understand, the person who will review your project, generally they are very busy people and may not, they will read all your proposal, but they will make their minds based on the abstract. So effective summary states problem addressed by the applicant, identifies solutions, specifies the objectives and method of the project. So we should clearly mention, so which problem you are trying to solve, what will be is solution, what were the objectives, method that you will use in the project. You should also mention that how much funding we require for how much funding we require for the project. That in short you have to mention. Okay, then comes table of content. So you would also like your report, you can say project report, you have to mention the content. What are the different section in your content? Okay, different section in your report. Okay, so even if it is short report, the content is required on and which page particular content is there. What are the list of, we have to also mention the list of tables, list of figures. So for reviewer, it will be fast to locate particular page. Please understand, the person who is reviewing your proposal may be very busy and he will directly attack, like he will attack, see the abstract, then he will see the content and we will go to particular page. Okay, and he will make up his or her mind. Then comes introduction. Then in introduction, give the statement of your problem, purpose of your research, what is the significance of research from your country's perspective, from world perspective. Okay. So introduction is very important, and in the introduction, or you can have a separate background. In that background, you have to give the literature review. Please understand background. In the background, we have to give the literature survey, and you should clearly mention the what is work done in particular area, what was the research gap, what are the mistakes made by earlier researcher, what can be improvement. All these things you have to give the background in the literature survey. Then you give the description of your research, proposed research. We have to give the methods, approach. We have to clearly describe your research, what will the experimentation, you give the diagram of experimentation, what will the methods use, what will the equation will be used, how the data will be measured, how the analysis will be done, what will the expected result from this. Everything you have to give in the description. Please understand, more the clear it will be, there are more chances of funding. So one thing that I will mention here, literature survey is very key to be successful proposer for the research. Okay. Then comes what are the description of relevant institutional resources. What are the resources you have available in your organization, and what are the resources not available that you have to mention, so that funding agency also wants that you should have some facility. Okay. Everything they cannot support. Okay. So if you have some facilities and some are not there, then additional facilities they can provide. Then like a project report, you have to thesis, you have to give the references. So the good reviewer also sees your references. If your references are appropriate, more relevant, then he makes mind that the person has done a proper homework. Then also about details of the person involved in the project, principal investigator, co-investigator. Then comes the section for budget. What type of expenses are there, how they will be distributed. Okay. Whether it is for human resource, for instruments, for experimental setup, travel, everything that you have to mention in the budget. And also give the justification for the budget. Okay. Also give the justification for the for the budget. So these are the general content of research proposal. So we'll see one research proposal from SPPU after the break, and I will take the break. Okay, thank you. Join after the break after 10 minutes.